go over what we're gonna do. So, welcome to your official week 2. Let's start off with, I thought this would be a good question, handling fears. So this is something you might not know today, but it's something I think we'll ask every session. What is a fear that you faced this past week? Calling a challenging client, firing somebody, something that you were like, oh, this is never going to work. It's going to be terrible. But it actually turned out okay. It wasn't a big deal. So a fear that you faced, it could be anything: raising your prices, quoting somebody that you didn't think was going to, say yes, anything that was challenging. So Tempe, Duke, did you guys face any big fears the past week?
Last week,
and crickets.
Well, we've just been kind of continuing the process of building the website. Tempe's been working on that, and
so you're hiding behind the computer. Okay.
No.
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. I will say there have been some big fears, and I'm working through my issue with talking to people, like making those cold calls and things like that.
Okay.
But I kind of had an aha moment. I talked to Tempe about it yesterday. I was just like, you know what? It finally sunk in that it's just like, just do it. What's the worst thing that can happen? They can say no, and they can hang up and think, wow, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, guess what? Next time I'm going to be 5% better at it. And then eventually,
better. Yeah.
And eventually someone's going to be like, wow, man, that was amazing. I want to talk to you more about this. So I had to get over the fear of sounding like an idiot, basically. Is what, I don't like feeling like I don't know what I'm talking about. So,
okay.
So yeah. Aha moment.
I guess for me, I still deal with a little bit of feeling like I'm not good enough with design, and
okay.
Duke just gave me so much praise I just showed him all the stuff I've been working on, and so it was kind of nice to hear all that.
She is killing it. The website, the new redesign that's being worked on right now, I've been doing this for a long time, design work, and it's blowing me away.
Right on.
It's going to be amazing.
Nice deal. Tracy, did you conquer anything this past week, or?
Well, I don't deal with people that don't know me very much. I get referrals and repeat and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I had the cold request from my website that I showed you. And so I had that meeting, and it went amazing. So I'm super stoked that the website is working. It's attracting the right people, and they're feeling the connection, like I'm the person. And even though this is RFP-ish, and she's got people she has to go through to show to the board and everything else, she's like, yeah, you are who I want to work with. So that was awesome.
And that was, so everybody knows, so Tracy got this kind of RFP looking request. It looked like they were just sending it out to 50
people. Via my form on my website. Yeah,
and it had all this stuff, but I think that's the only time an RFP works really, really well is when you got somebody on the inside that wants to work with you, because she's selling Tracy to the board. She's like, we got to use this person. So they're just, now I think they're just crossing T's, dotting the I's, doing what they have to do.
I think so, yeah. We have another meeting to go over what actually I need to provide her to go to the next step, because it was like, we want to know prices, and we want to know your process. We want to know the stuff so that on paper, people can go to the next level. And so I'm going to give her the playbook that I'm still creating. And I think I'm going to give her a video walking through it.
Love that.
Then talking about maybe how I'm different and how I know EOS, because it turns out they did an EOS process last year, and she was shocked that I understood what that was. So kind of, highlighting some of those benefits and giving myself an unfair leg up.
I love it. And think about making the video a little bit evergreen, so you could send it to other clients.
Ooh, that's a smart idea.
Now you've got multiple uses.
Yeah. So that will be a fear I get to conquer this week, is to do a video and not ramble. And because I'm very verbose and I have a tendency to get a little chatty. So keeping it concise and clear and focused. And so that will be my this week's thing. But on Tempe and so I'm working with Aaron File on head trash stuff. And one thing we were talking about yesterday that might be benefit to you is that you are the creator of the beliefs, like your filter that you see the world through. And so those beliefs are the things that create your life. So if you're the one who creates the beliefs, you are then really the master of your domain.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the one that puts the things in the way. And you have to figure out where those beliefs came from and bust them. That they were a meaning you attached to something that really didn't necessarily have that true meaning for anybody else who saw it. Just you made that meaning. And I have a lot of those. And we're busting through those various, because we're meaning making machines and we have to attach meaning to like every event that happens in our existence. Yeah. And so I've been thinking about that today. Is I'm actually the master of my own domain because I'm the one who create the meaning and I'm the one who, is the creator of my life. So
awesome.
Yeah, I will leave you with that.
Awesome. Trina.
Yes, hit a couple of fears this last week. Number one, for those of you who were at U Summit and saw our interaction with Dr. Young, and we'd had like several meetings, and then toward the end of the year, he said, hey, I need to put pause on this. He had a bunch of retreats and stuff coming up, and I've been struggling with how to re-engage him. So I used one of my calls with Jonathan this last week. Oh, shoot, I have to take this call.
Take it.
Sorry.
Sales comes first. How about Devin? Devin, you conquer any fear? Maybe it was a wave. I don't know.
Well, yeah, actually, I did do that. Yeah, so I've been working on in surfing. I've been working on taking off on steeper waves and like the more critical part of the wave, which means you're basically like going down a wheelchair ramp to going down like a really steep skate slope, right? Like, and then with the consequence being if you fall, a ton of water is going to come crashing down on you. So that is actually a fear that I've been conquering and working on like for the last 5 days. It's been good. Business wise, I would say it's been more delivery stuff. So not so much sales. Like sales has been going pretty smoothly. Had a good qualification call this week, but we had what I'm calling like we have sort of 3 big business catalyst migrations off of business catalyst, and one of them, the biggest one, I'm calling it like trying to get a smooth landing on projects that are underway, right? And this one we had a design meeting go like really, really poorly with this client. I mean, we've worked with this woman for like 8 years, so we know each other, but it just turned out to be actually something you said to me a while ago, John, in one of our conversations, was just remembering that people are people, right? They're just humans. Like they may react a certain way in a call or a meeting, and then you don't really know everything else that's going on. And so instead of sort of freaking out, we took a step back. We called her the next day. We're like, hey, is everything all right with you, like in life? and she just opened up, and it wasn't just like a bunch of personal baggage, but it was just like, oh, I feel really overwhelmed by this whole project and this like list of things I have to do. And so we found a way to kind of take some of those things off her plate and just righted the ship. So that was so now it's back to smooth glide path, right? And so that was a good handling of, I guess,
nice
road bumps. Yeah.
Nice. How about Nate? Nate, any fears you conquered?
Yeah, I went on a golf business trip this last weekend, Thursday to Saturday, with 3 guys from my neighborhood. 2 of them are business owners. One, I'm not great at golf, so that was kind of a fear that I had to overcome. I went to some nice golf courses and lost a lot of balls. But I also talked to the guys about, I mean, I made some swag for the company. There's a new hat.
Nice.
Because I learned from my accountant that I can't do entertainment expenses anymore. It has to be like promotional or advertising. So I wore swag the whole time. But wearing that, it helped because they looked up my site while we were golfing on their phone. And one's a chiropractor, owns a chiropractic company. He talked to me about some stuff, and the other one owns a big HR company that he told me they did a site a couple years ago for about $40,000, and that he'd like to do discovery. So So I broke the fear of wearing swag for the first time and golfing with guys that were way better than me, and not being afraid to talk about the business. So
Nice.
I also set up Loom, which wasn't a big fear, but I set it up, so I was excited about that, and I used it for a client.
Yeah, Loom is a super cool tool. Did you sell them, Trina? You got to get back on the phone if they're not sold. She probably can't hear us yet.
I can now. I'm so sorry.
That's
Did
all
you
right.
just say they're not sold? Excuse you.
I said you got to get back on the phone if you didn't sell them.
No, this is a current client that we're trying to nail down for launch. So he's been traveling a lot. Yeah, so I'm sorry. Who am I interrupting, or were you trying to?
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So let's come back to what fear you might have faced this past
Yeah,
week.
so I was trying to figure out how to re-engage with Dr. Young, and Jonathan in all his wisdom gave me some pointers. So I, did some just friendly outreach this last week. And so that was good and was just helping me kind of swallow my tongue and start the conversation again. And then also I had a call with a potential, network partner. Like it's a company that they sell white label supplements, and they always have high level clients that are looking for design for that. And so I'm working with one of their other clients and got to kind of move up the chain on who I was talking to this week. So we don't know what that's going to look like yet, but it could at least be a foot in the door with some of these clients. Very and cool. Some conversations I've never had before, putting you on the spot.
Very cool. How about Cliff? Cliff, did you face any fears this week? I think you're muted. I think you got mute, Cliff. I think.
Yeah. Hey guys and gals. Yeah, two things that hit me in the last 24 hours. The first one is, we have a big launch for My Web Audit, and I was trying to find a creative way to announce that to people. And I was like, do I do a video, custom graphics, whatever? And I didn't want analysis paralysis. So I took a page from your book, John, and just put together a simple graphic that took like 15 minutes. And that worked. And it worked just fine. So awesome. That was one. And another one is that a client that we did a really big custom project for in 2010 is looking for a refresh. And, he gave me his budget of 20 to 50,000. And my fear was just going through discovery on these projects are just such a pain. And, my mindset just shifted kind of, I think, to someone just had mentioned, like, the customer is in a different place. And so maybe we need to walk side by side with them. I think you've told me this before, when you're trying to work a deal, sit side by side with them versus across the table. And I kind of did that. And I said, and I went to school with this guy. So I was like, okay, different approach. The fear of, working on a project, going through discovery, getting paid for it, but not closing it was something that I was able to put aside because of the thought process of just saying, let me serve them the best I can. If it's a perfect fit, then we'll work together. If not, I'll be able to help a friend and make some money along the way. I didn't think about the big picture about launching and developing and all that. Whatever happens, happens. Yeah, nice. Very nice. Well, we've got I got a lot of stuff to give to you guys today. So today we're going to talk about selling to existing clients or past clients or contacts, right? If you don't have any past clients, there's contacts. I've got a little bonus about how to find new prospects. This is fresh. This is not anything. I learned this on Monday. I sat down with another agency owner and I was like, you do what? Like, it was amazing. He was like, yeah, this is how we find our leads. And I went, okay, like, I've got to try that. And it works. I'll use Devin as an example because you'll love it. You guys will love it. So it's finding new prospects, super cool way to do that. And then I have a resource for you guys, the best sales script ever. Because I know we like our scripts and we like our templates and we like to fill in the blanks. So for those of you that don't know what to say, don't know how to say it, I've got a sales script and we'll just go over that. The link, I'll give you the link to the folder where everything is. I'll just put it in chat for those of you that want to download stuff and kind of follow along. I already put the slide deck in there. There's some minor changes, but today's slide deck I put a lot of info in it so you could print it out and use it. There's two ways of doing these slides. I can say a statement and just talk the whole time, or I can actually put the details into the slide. So today, there's a lot of how-to in the slide. And I have to give Cliff some credit. Cliff said, boy, it'd be really good
if you deep dived into this whole warm prospecting thing, this whole how to get customers thing. So today is like a super deep dive on exactly how to do it. So getting started, we've got selling to existing contacts. I used to say clients, but you can sell to anybody that you already know. So you don't have to think only past clients. You can think past contacts, but think of it this way, right? Prospecting is about finding the right buyers and turning them into customers, period. That's the only reason you do it. To succeed, though, you got to be efficient. You got to have a plan. So I'll give you a plan today. And the easiest place to start when you start building a business, prospecting, whatever, is start with your current contacts, right? Start with current past clients. Realize today, this is a never-ending quest. You will never be done. So let's make it fun because you're going to do it all the time. And the most successful businesses, they continually do this. They find creative ways to do it again. They find ways, always looking for new ways of doing things. And one thing I want you guys to keep in mind, you could do this perfect, right? You could follow every prospecting protocol in the book and you could come up empty-handed. You absolutely could. But that doesn't work forever or doesn't last forever. You could hear no 10 times in a row over 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden, the next week, everybody says yes, right? So I always say don't quit 10 minutes before the miracle happens. Keep it up. Keep pressing forward, because it's not like I call 10 people, I make 3 deals. It's more like I have 10 conversations. I get 2 or 3 opportunities. One of those might turn into a deal. So as long as I'm having 10 conversations all the time, pretty soon it's going to even out. The biggest thing to keep in mind is our attitude, right? Like anything else, we can view it positive or we can view it negative. And so mindset is key. Recognizing your limits, maximize your success, get a broad perspective, practice gratitude. Let's talk about this. So do you actually remember, think about the past week. Do you remember how many times you were cut off in traffic? Or do you remember how many people let you in? Right? When you went out to eat, do you remember the one thing that didn't taste right? Or do you remember the one thing that tasted great? If you think about that, alternatively, sometimes people notice or they focus on the bad things. It's easier to focus on the bad. It's so easy. If we recognize that we're inclined to think negatively, that's the first step in gaining a positive attitude. And so that applies to sales. You will remember the 10 people that said, kick rocks, I don't want to work with you. But you have to remind yourself of the 2 or 3 people that said, yes, we love you. This is awesome. We're having so much fun. Thank you for helping us. You have to remind yourself of those things. Otherwise, you will get bored really, really quick and you'll get defeated. Does that kind of make sense so far? So when I say recognize your limits, that's recognizing, am I looking at the positive or am I looking at the bad? When I say maximize your success, people tend to minimize it, right? Because you don't want to sound egotistical. Like, people don't want to brag. You want to stop short of gloating about success, but don't bury it. Talk about success. Talk about the efforts you put in with past clients. Keep a mental suitcase and review when you need to get the right mindset. This isn't about being egotistical. It's about being really proud of what you do, right? And not afraid to kind of blow your own horn every once in a while. Be like, yeah, we did a great job for these guys. We can help you too. It's not egotistical. And when I say create a broad perspective, when it comes to building and maintaining the right attitude, you are the company you keep. They say that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So if you hang with Debbie Downers, get used to being depressed. Like, that's just, so who you hang out with is a big deal. Surround yourself with, I call them Susie Sunshiners, right? They don't really see any fault in anybody. Sometimes if you hang out with too many Susie Sunshiners, you get a false sense of security. So you got to kind of watch for that. But just remember, I am who I hang with. And in business, I always say, Cliff and I had this conversation, I think a couple weeks ago. If you're going to come into like an affiliate program or a partnership program, or if you're going to, do anything with another company, make sure it's a company that elevates your brand, something that makes you actually look better or be better. not just, oh, they have a lot of contacts, it would be great. So let's make sure they elevate your brand. And the big thing is practicing gratitude. When you're thankful for people giving you their time, that's a huge deal. Telling others that you're grateful, that you're really happy that they gave you some time, it creates a positive experience, and you can call on that to maintain a positive attitude. Like, just realize they don't have to talk to you. They probably don't have time to talk to you. So when you get them on the phone, that's a big deal. Like, it's a big deal. They're giving you some trust. Make sense? So the other thing down here in the slide, it says the average closing ratio for a so-so salesperson is about 20%. That means if you talk to 10 people, you could possibly trip over 2 deals by accident. Even if you do all of this wrong, you could get 2 deals. So the more you do it, the better you get, right? The more you do it, the better you get. So let's go over your action plan. This is where the rubber meets the road. Most salespeople get all pumped up to start the day when they have a deal to close. The idea of spending the day prospecting is not exciting, right? It's, oh, great, I have a prospect today. But that's why prospecting often gets pushed off until a later day when it's like absolutely needed. Everything else is dried up. We need cash. And now it's a stressful task, right? It's, oh, I have to do this because of money and whatever. But if it's a priority all the time, you could have a pipeline that never dries up. So if you have like a prospect-driven attitude, then you'll be able to just do it all the time. You know, it's not, I have to sit down all day and make 100 calls to find a deal. I just make 3 or 4, you know, a couple a day, a couple every once in a while. I just want to keep conversations going. So an active prospecting plan includes time to identify potential customers, to identify how am I going to initiate the action? How am I going to cultivate relationships? How am I going to stay effectively busy? Not just busy. You know, I don't want you guys running around in circles. I want you to effectively do this. And so we're going to make these steps a part of your action plan and kind of make them into a routine. So first we have the process, okay? And I'll go through each one of these, but we're going to create a list of ideal prospects. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Then we identify ways to meet them where they're at. What are we going to talk about? Before we call them, we divide them into 2 lists. I call them the needs list and the wants list, and I'll go over that. And then we develop some questions for each prospect type. You guys probably already have your own questions. It could be mini discovery or whatever. We want to set specific goals and expectations, and we want to schedule weekly time to prospect. So everybody should have on their calendar, 2 hours on Thursday, I'll be prospecting, right? You have to set the time or you won't do it. Block the time. So let's go through a couple of these. And this is where I put a lot of detail into the slides. So when you finally get time with prospects, you want to use the time well. Let's talk about the plan. So identifying products or services that the customer could buy but doesn't. That's what I want to look at first. Calculate the total potential, estimate what's being bought from the competition. Right? Are they using Infusionsoft? Are they buying SEO from somebody else? Are they hiring another print designer or doing something? Like, what are they spending with other companies? What are they doing? You can use that information. And then we'll develop a plan for expanding your pool of contacts. We get plugged into your customer's network, associations. All of you guys kind of know that. Like, if you want to get in with a niche, you join an association. You get into their network. All the time, and this is a big one, I always bring value to everybody. So the most important contribution is you can give them knowledge and expertise, right? So ask yourself, there's questions in here like, what information do I possess that can be of benefit to customers? Define value in customer terms, right? The possibilities of creating value are limitless. It could be faster service, better delivery, easier ordering, unique features, benefits, etc. What is it that when you're talking to a prospect, when you're talking to somebody, what is it that they feel would be of value? Okay. Some other stuff here. Give ideas on how to improve their business operations. Make them feel like they have a special relationship with you. That's always a good one. Like a special relationship. Maybe, hey, we have this special thing. We're only calling about 5 or 6 customers to offer it. Would you like to be involved? You're one of our VIPs. and identify your customers' customers. So how are you going to help them if you don't know who they're working with, right? So all of that is very basic, but I put it in here so you got an idea of what you can talk about. So let's talk about the list. How do you create a list? I would look at who are my best customers, not necessarily the biggest, the best, and think about where did I find them? Where did that customer come from? Okay. And what industry is my best target based on my experience? That's a really good question. What's my ideal customer's company size? Who's the decision maker for what I sell? A lot of you mostly talk to CEOs or business owners because it's a smaller business. But if you get into medium to large businesses, a lot of times you're not talking to the CEO. It might be the regional sales manager, it might be the CFO, the CMO. So who's the decision maker for what I sell? So this helps you create a list. I think it's best to look at who you've worked with and who you really like and just create an avatar for that. Let's find more of them. Make sense so far? So going a little quick. Stop me if you guys want me to slow down. I'm just going kind of quick. So now let's talk about those two lists that I mentioned. These are really good to do. The needs list and the wants list. So the needs may need to grow or shift or change to meet new industry specs. So if you guys are working with customers in a certain industry, you should be in touch with what's going on, what's happening. If something changes within that industry, you need to know about it. So you actually, now you're becoming proactive instead of reactive. Now you can reach out, hey, we saw that your industry changed a little bit. Here's how we can help you. Or we saw that the rules are different, and here's how we can help you. Does that kind of make sense? Like if you find industry changes, that's your needs list. The wants is they might want to replace a competitor's product, upgrade technology, try a new process. So that's, hey, these guys, we lost these guys a couple of years ago. They're working with somebody else. Let's see if they want to replace them, right? Don't worry about segmenting. Don't worry about segmenting your list. That'll increase success later, but we're not worried about that right now. That's too much. Make sense? Okay. So let's not overlook lost accounts. There's a misconception of, well, they didn't hire us or they fired us. I don't want to talk to them anymore. Time heals a lot of wounds. You know, they don't tell you it'll feel like a kidney stone, but it will heal. Like time heals a lot of wounds. So sometimes those are your hottest prospects. Approach them with caution. First, understand why the account was lost so you can speak to that, then determine what do you need to change in order for them to consider you again. So when I do these kind of calls, it's, hey, I realize we didn't give you the attention you desired last time. We have optimized our process to give me more time to spend it with you. Would you consider working with us since that issue has been changed? Does that make sense? So you're identifying, validating their issue, and trying to bring them back as a customer. I've brought many customers back after we screwed it up. And I brought them back by just saying, hey, we screwed up, but I fixed it. You want to come back? Right? So now, a little bit of a plan there, a little bit of insights as to creating lists and kind of getting ready. So let's throw the idea of cold calls out the window. It's a soul-sucking exercise. Nobody likes doing it. Let's do warm calls. And I hear this phrase a lot, but nobody ever explains how to do it. Oh, just reach out on LinkedIn, or oh, just do this thing. And that's not really a process. Like that's kind of shooting from the hip. So let's warm up the calls. Number one, send something of value first. Email them a download, something, hey, we've got this thing. This should be valuable for you. And then call or email and introduce yourself, asking, now you have a reason to call, right? Did you receive what I sent? Did you find it helpful? Did you take away anything? What more would you like to see? Any of these questions will just open some dialogue. That's all we're doing. We're not trying to sell them. We're just trying to start a conversation, right? Was that valuable? And then you connect with them. So I would ask questions that allow them to open up. I know a lot of people in your industry are struggling with X. How's that going for you? What's going on in your world? I saw you retweeted a story on X. How's that situation affected you? So keep in mind, these are open-ended questions. I just want them to start talking. I want them to get comfortable. Keep your cool. You don't offer solutions, right? You're just gaining information. The warm call could feel like a hard sell. Prospects will resent it. They will push back. You do not sell. I call it a no pitch call. It's a no pitch call. We're just doing a warm call. Try to limit to 10, 15 minutes. You could always say, if you have a few more minutes, I can share some information that would be helpful. If not, then let's check in. When can we talk again? Set a calendar event and invite them to another call. Maybe that's a longer, more deeper dive. But this is how you warm up the call. Send them something of value. Ask if it was valuable. And now you have a reason to call them. Because if you don't have a reason to call, they're going to be like, why are you calling me? Right? So by sending them something of value, a download, a video, or whatever, now you have a reason to chat. So now, what do you do when you're in front of the prospect? So you've warmed up the call. You've done some things. You've got them talking. There's some dialogue going on. I would have several opening statements ready. An opening statement. We've been working in this industry for like 10 years, and what we found was blah, 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 right? Ask open-ended questions. Avoid jargon, right? And there's some words that I wouldn't use. I would say maximize or boost rather than increase, right? Language is a big deal. I would say cut and eliminate, not reduce. I don't want to reduce the amount of low-quality leads that come into my business. I don't want any of them. I want to eliminate it. I want to cut it, right? And so that's what your prospects want to hear. We don't want half the job done. We want all of it done, right? And you go in with a winning attitude. Confidence, not cockiness, but approach them as peers, not buyers. From now on, when you get somebody on the phone, they are your peer. They are not better than you. They are not smarter than you. You are their peer. This is your business. Nobody knows it better than you. Even if they talk like they know it better than you, they probably don't know what they're saying. When they say words like SEO, they don't even know what that means. So remember, you're the professional and they are a peer. They're not better than you or less than you, right? You guys are equal. So power questions. I've got 3 sets of questions that I go through. You don't have to ask them all. You just pick 1 or 2 that you like. So the first set of questions is identifying pain. When they're on the call, people will run from pain faster than they will run towards something that feels good, right? They will run from pain. So I would ask one of these, what concerns you most about deciding to buy? What is the big deal? What do you want to avoid moving forward, right? What would keep you from moving forward, right? What do you dislike doing now that we can do for you in the future? That's a really good one. What do you hate doing? What can we take off your plate? And you don't have to ask them all, or you could if they let you, but this helps you identify the pain with their words, what they say. When they answer this question, write it down. This is what they said, because we're going to use that later on. Then you identify opportunity. So this is figuring out where to enter the sale, right? What's the quality of what you use now, right? Does the website work? Does the marketing work? Is there quality in what you've got? What do you like about what you use now, right? They're automatically going to tell you what they don't like. I'm going to phrase it positively, but they're automatic. Well, we really like this, but we hate this and this and this and this. They're going to throw up all over you, the things that they don't like. Will what you use now get you to where you want to be in the future? Great question. If their site's not working now, it's not going to work in the future. If their marketing is not bringing them what they want now, it's not going to bring them that in the future. So what you use now get you where you want to be in the future? It forces them to say, no, it probably won't, right? What kind of feedback do the people using the product give you now? And that's just asking them in their own words what's happening. And so this is where the opportunity comes up, because in their own words, they're going to tell you what they look for. Does that make sense? All right, now let's impress them. So how much flexibility do you need from a supplier? Or how much flexibility do you need from your web agency? What can we do to make your purchasing experience easier? Maybe you're feeling like it's hard. Maybe you're stuck. How important to you is it that we offer, and you can say the specific differentiating service, whatever you've got. Can you tell me about special order needs you have? If you could have one extra feature, what would it be? Those are really good. One extra feature, one extra tool, one extra idea, just kind of wonder. And this, probably that's a question I reserve more for like e-commerce customers. Is there a feature you're missing? Usually it's, we don't have an abandoned cart. We really need that or something. But again, you don't have to ask all these questions. It's not robotic. How much flexibility do you need from the supplier? Thanks. What can we do to make your purchase experience easier? Like, you'll sound very robotic. Go with the flow, ask a couple of them, get them talking, and you guys will know what to do and where to go. Like this is just to remove the apprehension you have from getting them on the phone and give you some ideas of what to say, how to get them talking. It's not an exact blueprint of do all these things. It's here, take it, season it to taste, use what you like, throw away what you don't. Make sense so far? Okay. So I want you guys to take action this week. What I want you guys to do, I want you to reach out to 10 past clients. And I want you to try to schedule a call with them. So send them a download or send them something of value, or, Tracy, when you get your playbook, send that, right? Hey, we've got this new playbook. Would love your feedback on it. See what you think. Haven't spoken to you in a while. It's been a minute, right?
Got a quick question about the naming of playbook. That's been confusing for some people I've been talking to about it. They're like, isn't a playbook like processes or so?
I have my process in the playbook.
Okay.
You could call it a capabilities doc.
Okay.
You could call it, overview, agency info. You could call it different things. I always called it a playbook because nobody called theirs a playbook. So I sounded different. That's
right.
all.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yep.
I was gonna. This was several slides back, but I was just gonna highlight the value of being a connector, right, to your clients, your existing clients. So we've kind of been juggling this a little bit internally too, which is like, we basically only work with, when I say work with, I'm not talking about clients, I'm talking about other practitioners, right? So like a branding expert, a video expert, like that kind of thing. And one thing that I'm realizing is a strength is that we really only work with like really cool people, like people who are really fun to work with. They're like us. Like a lot of them are either, some of them even we have like close family ties with, but I'm realizing how much of a strength that is. So one thing that we're kind of like balancing now is like, okay, so as we introduce our clients to these other people, right, and we bring them in, you can either represent that person is part of your agency. So like, this is Engine 8's branding expert, right? And his name is Seth, and you really like, and then they really fall in love with Seth, and then and Seth keeps doing other work with them. And we can either like run all that through Engine 8 and basically mark it up, and Seth does the work and he's happy and the client's happy with the work. Or we can just sort of be the connector who's like, you know what, you need branding. We don't do branding, but Seth does, and Seth is amazing. And then they fall in love with Seth and all that stuff. And then all that happens. Now, we're not necessarily getting money in that model from Seth's work. And in theory, if the client wanted to fire us, they could and just go work with Seth. Not that we're competing, but like he could keep getting the business and we could lose it.
Yeah.
But what I'm realizing is that I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it because in one way it's like a really fast way to launch productized services. I'm using Seth as an example because we've been doing these brand refreshes and we're just like, Seth, $2,500. Like, it's going to take you 3 weeks. We've done 6 of these already. They've all fit that bill, and then we charge $5,000 for it, and like, done deal, and everybody's happy. But now I'm like, video, like our clients need video. Tyler, let's work with you. And so we're just sort of like trying to balance that whole thing of like the value of being the connector versus the value of bringing it under your roof and sort of increasing your agency value. And if you go away, then all those great people go away too. So I don't know who, I'm sure people in this room have kind of thought about that or discussed that, but that's a big value add to existing clients is connecting, like having a solid network. But I'm curious on people's thoughts about that.
Yeah, great point, Devin. So as of probably summer of last year, we've we've referred or connected people specifically for PPC and SEO services. And that's just an area we found that we can't make the profit margins we want. And so we've passed them on and vice versa. They don't do any web work, so they send referrals back our way. And the reason we made that strategic decision is for $400, it was not worth me, the profit margin. It was not worth me getting on a call and covering reporting or answering questions or even getting on a sales call as the white label person executed it. As you continue to grow your agency, you realize that, growth comes from, focusing your time on what you can get better margins on or what you can productize. And so that's why we did it. And it's been really good for us. We've slowly done that over the last 3 years. And between 2015 and 2015, last year, we doubled our revenue and more than doubled our profit margins following that process. I don't know if that works for everyone, but it's worked very well for us.
I think it's
Cliff,
go ahead. Devin.
I was just gonna say, Cliff. So when you did that, so the 400 you're referring to is like that's what you would have made by marking it up as and saying like HireWiz is doing this. But,
yes,
and that's not worth your time, obviously.
That's correct. Now, again, transparency, as I refer them out, I completely trust this company. And so they send me back 15% just as a referral, month to month, reoccurring.
Really? Okay. That was my next question was like, if there's just sort of a referral.
So it wasn't just, just refer us and we refer people. No, it was refer us when we sign up with them. We'll let them know. And the way I speak to my clients is, look, a year ago, we would have white labeled this for you. I want complete transparency. I want you to get the best rates. I'm sending you directly to the source. I completely trust them. And, obviously you should try them out. If you find them to be a great fit, great. If not, move forward. And honestly, we've had zero, I haven't sent them dozens, but for all the clients we've sent over, we've had zero attrition. So it's been great for us.
Cool.
It's a good example of an abundance mindset. I do what I do really well, but I don't do video, right? And so I'll get you to the video guy that I know and trust. Yeah, it's awesome.
I know one thing for me, Devin, that helps on that is if I have people I'm going to refer out to, I want to have some kind of agreement with them. So just so that I find if I have stuff in writing, at least like kind of a soft agreement of, hey, I'll pass you some of my clients. Like I have a lady right now from Canada that I was referred to that specializes in pay-per-click, and she's my outsourced pay-per-click subcontractor. And I introduce her that way to my clients. I'm like, I dabble in pay-per-click, but Anita, she's really good at it. She's been doing it for 17 years. She's going to be the one that's taking care of this. And I still charge the client. They still pay my agency. And she and I have worked out a deal where I know her kind of flat fees and I know her whatever the other fee, the fees that vary. And I just tell that to the client. And so sometimes if she's on the call with me with a client, I don't have to worry about it. She does all that work. I am the face still, but I don't make as much as I would if I maybe did it myself, but I don't have the skill set to worry about that. I'm going to focus on what I'm best at and not chase everything.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. So, but you still run the billing through your agency, and you do that because it's just easier for your client, like less vendors and all that stuff.
Client still pays me, and I usually try to bundle. When I outsource stuff like pay-per-click, I'll try to bundle it with other things that I am doing. So I am doing consulting, and she's doing pay-per-click, and I'm charging $1,000 a month, and a portion of that is pay-per-click, but I'm making my margins. And so I'm still doing my stuff. She's doing part of that. But it's important for me to get it in writing so I know what to expect from the outsourced contractor, and then I can reflect that to the client.
Awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Before I go over the best sales script ever, we're going to talk about the lead generator system. This is how I don't have enough people to call. How do I get more phone numbers? Don't do this to Devin. I just used him as an example. You go to your competitor's website, look at their portfolio, check to see if they tag their clients, right? In the little footer, site by Engine 8, designed by Engine 8. Search for that on Google. Designed by Engine 8, site by Engine 8. You'll find all of their customers because they tagged them in the footer, right? So this is a way to get a list of everybody Engine 8 works with. I did notice Devin, sometimes it would say site by Engine 8. Sometimes it would say product.
Powered by. Yeah, it's all over the map.
Right?
But yeah.
So you find some of those. But I did a Google search, and there was pages of, all of these clients that you'd worked with. And these are like Newfound, Halkeen, Jump Immersion. I know that's one of your clients. And so then this is a way you can actually get some leads. You can get numbers to call, send them something of value. And guess what? Now hey, it looks like your site was designed by Engine 8. Don't ever down your competitors. They're a really cool company. Is there anything that you didn't get or anything you missed out on or anything I can help you with? You'd be surprised at how many customers are just not happy with who they're working. I don't think anybody is other than people that have like graduated boot camp and gone through UGurus. I think most customers are okay with where they're at, with their agency, because it's painful. It's painful to go try to find another one. So sometimes it's safer to we'll just stay with these guys until you bring it up. Hey, we noticed you guys have a site designed by Engine 8, blah, 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 blah. And you go through your thing, send them something of value, warm up the call, go through all the stuff that I just showed you guys. Does that make sense? It's a great way to find clients. Nate, you can do that. Look at PPC people, look at SEO people. If you don't want to go after competitors, look at stuff from other folks, look at outside of the web design community. Maybe look for people that do PPC or SEO, go after their clients, offer them web design, that kind of thing. Does that make sense? So yeah, I thought that was a really cool little way to get a list of people, and you have a reason to talk to them. Especially if you wanted to go the extra mile, you could make a 2 or 3 minute video and send it to them. Hey, it looks like your site was designed by Engine 8. It looks fantastic. Although you don't have a phone number in the top right. How do people call you? You don't have this, you don't have that. I would love to help you make this site work better. Even I look for sites that are beautiful. I don't look for sites that are crap because they obviously didn't spend money on it. I look for sites that are next to perfect, right? I know they spent cash on it. And then now what can we do to make it even better? What did you not get last time that you want this time? Because that it's important to them. They spent some money on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that video thing that you showed, or that you shared with U Academy that you do sometimes, do you still do that? You still do the little quick video assessment of their website as a kind of a introduction to them?
Well, the quick answer is no, because I don't run Ebway anymore. But I did. Yeah, I did. And I would pick and choose, maybe 4 or 5 videos to send every couple of weeks. I started at the end when we were pretty set and had clients coming in. I would only do it for my wish list customers, like OtterBox, stuff like that, like big boys, just try to get on their radar.
Okay.
My wish list. But yeah, that was a great way to get the conversation going, give value. So if you don't have a download, if you don't have something of value to send them, make a video. That's super valuable
for your current clients. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you can do it current clients, past clients, people that you're not even working with. That's how you can create value real quick. Hey,
Yeah,
here's 3 things you could change on your website.
I was thinking about that, and not only I think that would be a really good way for me to start, because one, it's an icebreaker. So when I do finally talk to them, I already feel like I've kind of communicated with them, so I'm not kind of nervous about it. You know what I mean? So I actually made a note a little while ago to start doing that as the free offer thing. So I was just making sure that seemed like a good idea. So
yeah, definitely a good idea.
cool.
Definitely. All right. Now, with just a few minutes here, we're going to go over the best sales script ever. I spent a lot of time writing this, and I've probably rewritten it a million times, but this is available to you guys in the Google Drive system. Now, let me just start by saying this is an over-engineered sales script with many, many steps. Odds are you might not get through all of them in one phone call, but if you do, this is what I call a one-call close. If you get through this whole thing, you have sold them something. I call it a one-call close. So it is possible to get somebody on the phone and call them and sell them within one call. So let's just go over a couple of the highlights, and then I'll let you guys read it and maybe take what you like, take some of the questions, apply it your own way. But this is something like I used to keep it up on my screen just to see where I was at. So reminding myself, be the most interesting person ever, like talk louder, be more excited, use inflection in your voice. Then eliciting information from the client. This can go one of 2 ways. Let's say you're warming up the call, or you get the warm call, right? You can say something like, hey, are you looking for help with XYZ? Yes, I am. That makes you the most important person I can talk to today, because that's exactly what we do. Like, you have no idea how good we are at this. And now you're excited, right? So just remember, this is the most important person you can talk to today, because this is an opportunity to help somebody. And when you help them, you can make money, right? That's the attitude. What I always say, there's a little phrase here. I'll say, hey, I'd love to find out more about you, your business, your struggles, and see if there's a way we could work together. If there's common ground where we can help, excellent. If not, that's cool too. It's not a sales call. So I'd love to hear about your business, what you're all about, how'd you get started? Tell me your story. What's your story? People love to talk about themselves. They love to get them talking, right? Again, take what you need, leave what you don't. Down here are some tips: active listening, being enthusiastic. So you can probe, what's the core product? What's their price point? What do they currently sell? So just some tips, right? Things you can talk about. Reconsolidate what they said. You've got some notes. Reconsolidate and affirm. So you said X and you said this, and this is what you correct, right? And now they're saying yes. Yeah, that's what I said. Now they know you're listening to them. So here's the magic, designing your multiplier. So excellent, Mr. Prospect. The main reason most of our ideal customers like you come to us are, you make up your 3 reasons, right? They're looking to generate more sales. They're looking to expand their territory, or they need a solid sales funnel. What would you say you're more of? 1, 2, or 3? Where does your desire lie, right? Regardless of what they say, you just keep going. Like, it doesn't matter what they say. In today's call, I'm going to take you through is going to be the same process we take all of our ideal clients through. And that's, keep that phrase in front of them. You're an ideal client. You're perfect for us. We want to work with you. So the same process many of our ideal clients use to increase their top line revenue year after year. How does that sound? You're now asking for permission to talk to them about what you offer. You have to get permission. You can't. Does that make sense? Get permission. The other thing you're doing here, you're mentioning top line revenue. I'm not responsible for your back office stuff. If you got costs that are out of whack, if you got salespeople that can't sell their way out of a paper bag, that's not my problem. That's not my fault. We're dealing with top line revenue, sales, stuff that comes in the top. So if they say yes, excellent. The process works the same every time, and you guys can put your process in there. Mine was, we get clear on what your goals are, get clear on your ideal customer, and how do you market and attract them. Just keep it simple, right? We just keep it simple. I'm using their language. And let's get into it. And you ask them these questions. I won't read it all to you, but there's lots of questions in here. And then there's some reconsolidation. And now there's the ROI formula. So I always say, hey, this is one of the last parts. We're almost done. Like give them a breath. This isn't going to be forever. So let's talk about marketing and where these people are going to come from. And this is where the math starts. Based on the results our clients are getting, if we put, and you can make up the numbers, if we put X into low cost online traffic, which is, we were selling SEO and PPC, using our proven systems and technology, we get about X or X. You can use some past experiences, past case studies, and use those while you're talking to them. Setting that up and making that happen, yeah, it's fairly easy if you do it right. But the big question for you is, if I were to give you 10 phone numbers of people who had put in their details, asked you to call them, how many out of the 10 would you close, right? And they might say to you, oh, I'll close 8 of them. I'm an amazing salesperson. Okay. Why don't we say you're having a bad day? Let's say you get one out of 10, right? You spend $1,000, and somewhere along the line up top, they told me that a customer is worth 10 grand to them. So you do your own math, but what's the lifetime value of a client? They've told me it's 10K. Okay, cool. On your premium product, you make $10,000 for every $1,000 you spend. Would you do that every week? Would you do it every week? What about every day, right? And so I'm just getting them to look at what the possibilities are, right? And then you do the math. I'm going to make them do the math. So let's extrapolate. If I can show you how to invest $1,000 a week, it's $4 grand a month, and make you $10,000 on each sale, what will you make? Let's see, what's 4 times 10K? And I shut up. Let them do the math. But well, it's about $40,000. Easy math. Cool. So that would be how much per year? Let's say you take a couple months off. So you do 10 months out of the year. How much would that work out to? And I shut up. And they say, wow, about 400,000 to my line, right? I'm making them do the math. Now the flip. Here's the flip. So what you're telling me is currently the true cost of not implementing my strategy and working with my company is that you're leaving about $400,000 on the table. Does that sound right? So they're always asking, what's it cost? What's it cost? The cost is what you're not making. That's what the cost is, right? What would having that 100K, 400K, 500K, 50K, whatever it is, what would having that mean to you for your business and for your lifestyle? What would that feel like? Now you're getting them to imagine what it's like to work with you. Can you guys see how this is working? Okay. And you'll see my little, cool. Like, all right, moving on. The bad news is we can't get you those results unless we do the work. That's the bad news. There's always good news and bad news. We got to get the right things done. So I think there's a good plan. Would you like us to help you out with this? It's a yes or a no. Now they've done the math, right? They're going to ask you, how much does it cost? This is usually where the investment questions come up. So we'll take a look at that. So I will tell them, if they don't say how much does it cost, I want to bring it up. Now, they're assuming everything's on assumptive math right now. I haven't really given them a price or an investment range. We're just doing some math and throwing numbers around. I'll say, this is usually where investment questions come up, right? So let's take a look at that really quick. Is that okay? Now I'm going to talk about the true investment, right? So let's look at this. The real cost to you is the contrast between where you are now and what you're not getting because you don't know what you don't know. So let's do the math. Before, you told me you were turning over how much, right? And I've taken notes so I know what their number is, right? So if we were to put this plan into place, you could begin turning over an extra, whatever the number is. I'm going to just make them all even. So extra 400K per year. So really the cost of my current program is $400,000 per year worth of non-implementation, isolation, and ignorance. Being ignorant doesn't mean you're stupid. It means you don't know what you don't know. It's actually costing you that much money not to have these things in place and not to have our help. Does that make sense? The true cost, the opportunity cost of what you're missing. So the real cost of my program, my service, my whatever, isn't the money I'm going to ask you to spend. It's the hard work of actually doing what I ask you to do. Now I'm putting it on them. There will be there'll be times when you want to punch me in the face, right? But if you really want to get the result, that $400,000 per year or more, that it is what it is, right? At the end of a shovel and a lot of hard work, like you're gonna have to put in the work, and you can have a laugh and whatever. Now here comes the runaway, the takeaway, right? We get three kinds of people. Let me be candid with you, or let me be honest with you. We get three kinds of people that I talk to. I get the freeple, right? The freeple, they just want to have a free conversation, have a good feeling that they've done something to help their business, but they aren't prepared to do the work. They aren't prepared to pay the real price. Those people are the worst of all, right? And so I just tell them about that. We also get the cheaple. They'll gladly waste money and time, hire pro after pro, tool after tool. They aren't prepared to do any work to pay the real price to get their ass up and implement, right? Then I get the real people, my favorite customers, the people who could probably do this themselves, the people who are going to create the extra 400K in their business, whether I help them or not. But they've realized that if they knew how to leverage the things I know, they could get there a lot faster, right? So if you're one or two, run away. We're not going to get along. But if you're number three, what I'm offering is going to blow you away. Does that make sense so far, what we're doing? So what are we offering, right? And then you would put in what you're offering. I won't read you all that. Now we've got the risk reversal, right? I'm going to remind them again, the cost to you is currently $400,000 per year that you're missing out. The price is the hard work. We've talked about that. The investment with me is only, and then you say it, right? You could say we charge for discovery. Here's the price to get started, whatever you want to say. The way I do this is that on the call, I only ask you for a deposit. It's fully refundable. I'm really serious. I want to make this work. Deposit, then we'll do your intake discovery, your interview session. We'll make sure we're all on the right track for real success. So I'm kind of prepping them to sell discovery. Does that make sense? One of three things will happen. They'll say, no, it's not a good fit. They'll give us the details we need, or you'll spend the entire session not listening, being a know-it-all, not coachable. You'll demand your money back because I wasted your time. But seriously, if you're that crazy, don't put your money down. Like, we're good, you know? So again, I'm giving them the three types of people, or the three types of options that they have. The last step is you have to ask for the sale. Now, I've given you two options to ask for the sale. So the first one is, let's move forward with a small deposit. Would you like Visa or MasterCard, right? The other one is the discovery sale. To get started, we'll move into the discovery process as I outlined during the call earlier. Here's what's cool. We only charge X, but whatever your investment turns out to be, we'll credit the initial discovery towards that. So it's a win-win. You're going to love this. It's like building a house. Discovery gives us the blueprint, blah, 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 blah. Visa or MasterCard. Does that kind of make sense, how the flow goes? So I know I went over it really quick, but it's something you guys can read through and look at. What could you say and how would you say it? How would you do the math? So it gives you something that I think over time you guys can work with and kind of come up with a script. Gives you things to talk about. Sound good?